Hey everyone, it's Lucian. How's it going? There are only this many days to the Beijing Winter Olympics next year. Ailing Gu, or Gu Ailing as she's known in China, recently became the first female skier to land a double cork 1440 in any skiing competition ever. That's incredible. She's really written herself into the history books of that one, being the first female skier to achieve such a massive feat. At the competition, the Big Air World Cup in Colorado, America, she won 2 gold medals, but at the time, her right hand was fractured and her thumb ligament was torn in the process. Ouch! Imagine just how powerful Ailing Gu would have been at her full health. Ailing Gu is expected to take part in next year's Beijing Winter Olympics in the big air, half-pipe and slopestyle events. Born in 2003, Ailing Gu is clearly a prodigious talent. She's still so young. In fact, she even got early acceptance into the prestigious Stanford University. For years, female and male athletes have been participating in sports competitions, challenging their limits and setting new records. In fact, in some sports, female athletes are even more prominent than men. But it hasn't always been like this. How difficult was it for female athletes to get to the stage they are today? Let's go back along the long river of history, starting with the first female athlete to participate in the Olympic Games. The first modern Olympic Games were held in 1896 in Athens, Greece. Reflecting the tradition of the ancient Olympic Games, teenagers and females were just not allowed to enter the competitions. In fact, women were even prohibited from watching the competitions. Pierre de Coubertin, the International Olympic Committee founder, even said women have only one task, that is, to crown the winner. Back then, a lot of people thought that women were physically inferior to men, based on body size, muscle ratios, and so on. This meant a lot of people thought women would do worse in sports than men, especially sports that required speed, strength, and power. However, the second Olympic Games, held in 1900, broke this precedent. The hosting country, France, always known for its liberal values, took the lead in sending female athletes. At 30 years old, British player Charlotte Cooper defeated French player Helen Prevost in the women's tennis singles, and thus she became the first real female Olympic champion in history. But at the time, women still wore long skirts in sports, and so they could only sign up for tennis and golf. Then, Britain and the United States started to send in more and more female athletes. Despite these victories, Coubertin and the International Olympic Committee still opposed women's participation in the Olympic Games. Therefore, rather sadly, women's victories were just not recognized. Still, the fact that there were such talented female athletes opened up the possibilities for more female participation in the future. Thus, it has become one of the most consequential legacies of the Olympic Games. After that, the debate about whether women could participate in the Olympic Games got more and more fierce. That was until the 1928 Olympic Games held in the Netherlands, where women were officially allowed to participate. A total of 277 female athletes participated in the 1928 Olympic Games. And for the first time, the track and field competitions. Poland's Halina Konopacki won the first female track and field event. Since then, many more women have stood on the Olympic podium. The Tokyo Olympic Games, held in July this year, was the first to get close to a near equal gender balance, with almost 50% of all athletes being females. Indeed, the organizing committee of the Tokyo Olympics even set up a gender equality publicity group. It encouraged the 206 participating NOC and IOC refugee teams to send at least one male and one female flag bearer, thus realizing the milestone of the first Olympic Games with equal gender. Here's one of my favorite stories from the Olympics. In 1952, the Helsinki Olympic Games set up a mixed equestrian event. Danish athlete Lis Hartel became the first female athlete to win this mixed event. And you know what's really amazing about this? She was paralyzed from the knees down. Can you believe that? Imagine just how good she would have been with a completely healthy body. So this really helped to break down the stereotypes that women were physically inferior to men. In 1992, Chinese athlete Zhang Shan won the skeet shooting competition, becoming the first female winner of this mixed competition, breaking down this long legacy of male monopoly on gold medals at this event. At the London Olympics in 2012, women's boxing finally became an official event. And this finally meant that women could compete in every single sport at the Olympics. And you know what's really interesting? In countries with over 90 gold medals, women have made more contributions than men since 1996. So from the above, it's easy to see how the world has been continually increasing gender inequalities at the Olympic Games. The role of women has changed from giving laurels to winners to firmly cementing their place on the podium. And that's one of the reasons I love the Olympics, because it represents the ideals of fairness and equality. And through the Olympics, we see that despite our perceived differences, in the end, we are all human beings. Well, that's all the time we have for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I really learned a lot researching about this topic, and I hope that you did too. Remember to give us a like, a comment, or a share. I'm Lucian, and thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode of The Road to the Beijing Winter Olympics 2022. All right.